Assalamualaikum
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh. Hi everyone. So today we want to discuss about our podcast material with my partner Karisma Yumna M. Fajar and me Rizkika. So our title of podcast material is the production process and cost. So the first we want to start about introduction of the production process and cost. So in my statement, production costs refer to the cost a company incurs for manufacturing a product or providing a service that generates revenue for the company. And like various of expense including labor, raw material, consumable manufacturing supplies, and general overhead might be included in production cost. So how about your statement, Risma?
In my statement, production is the process of combining various material inputs and immaterial inputs, which is plants and knowledge to make something for consumption or output. And it is the act of creating output, a good or service that has value and contributes to the utility of individuals. The area of economics that focuses on production is referred to as production theory, which is intertwined with the consumption or consumer theory of economics. And production costs are the totally amount of money spent by a company to manufacture a specific product or service. And it takes into account the raw materials, labor, and almost everything else required to prepare the product for sale. An important concept in managerial accounting, as well as a consideration for evaluating current operation and identifying opportunities for greater efficiency and profitability.
And the production function. Production function is a function that defines the maximum amount of output that can be produced with a given set of input. So here the formula of production function are key equal key point L. So the maximum amount of output that can be produced with key, which is unit of capital, and L is unit of labor.
Okay, so I will tell about the measure productivity. So the measure of productivity, the three most important measures of productivity are total product, average product, and marginal product. So the first is the total product. Total product or TP is simply the maximum level of output that can be produced with a given amount of inputs. For example, the total product of the production process described in I'm sorry. For example, the total product of the production process when 5 units of labor are employed is 1,100, since the production function defines the maximum amount of output that can be produced with a given level of inputs. This is the amount that would be produced if the 5 units of labor put forth maximal effort. Of course, if workers didn't put forth maximal effort, output would be lower, and 5 workers who drink coffee all day cannot produce any output, at least given this production function. So secondly,
I think it's my turn about average product, right?
okay.
So average product. In many instances, managerial decision makers are interested in the average productivity of an input. So the average product, which is AP, of an input is defined as a total product by the quantity used of the input. So here are some formula of average product. So the average product of labor, which is APL, is APL equal Q divided L, and the average product of capital APK is APK equal Q divided K. And the marginal product is the marginal product of an input in the chains of total output attributable to the last unit of an input. And the formula therefore is the change in total output divided by the change in capital. MPK equal Q divided K, and the marginal product of labor NPL is the change in total output divided by the change in labor. So each MPL equal Q divided by L.
Okay. So for the next is the role of the manager in the production process. So the first is a produce on the production function. The first managerial role is simple to describe, but it's one of the most difficult for a manager to perform. The production function describes the highest possible output that can be obtained with the given input. In the case of labor, this means that employees must exert maximum effort to ensure that employees are working to their full potential. The manager must implement an incentive structure that encourage them to exert the desired level of effort. For example, the manager of a restaurant must institute an incentives scheme that ensure that food servers do a good job within on table. So, and secondly is use the right level of inputs. So for the second role of the manager is to ensure that the firm operates at the right point on the production function. And a marginal product is the value of the output produced by the last unit of an input. There are two values marginal products. So the first is value marginal products or VMP, and the secondly is the value of marginal product.
So now is ISOC 1.
Yes.
So in my segment, ISOC 1 defines the combination of input that yield the same level of output, and the shape of an ISOC 1 reflects the ease with which a producer can substitute among input while maintaining the same level of output. So what about in your segment?
So one, in my statement, the basic tool for understanding how alternative inputs can be used to produce outputs is ISOC1, and ISOC1 defines the combinations of inputs K and L that yield the producer the same level of output. That is any combination of capital and labor along in sequence produce the same level of outputs. So what about
It's a
the
cost.
no? I mean, what about the formula? Do you know?
For the formula, so wait a minute. I'm looking for the formula because I don't remember about it. Where is it? So here. So the formula is MRTS KL equal MPL defining MPK.
Okay.
And now is ISO cost. So ISO cost in ISO 1 describe the combination of input that produce a given level of output. So notice that different combination of capital and labor end up costing the firm the same amount. So the combination of input that will cost the firm the same amount comprise an ISO cost line. And for a given input price, ISO cost whether from the origin are associated with higher cost change in input price and change the slope of ISO cost line. How does the budget line or ISO cost shift?
So in ISO cost there are budget line or ISO cost shifts. ISO cost has a curve. ISO cost has a curve from top level to bottom right. ISO cost may also experience movement if the budget increases. More and more can be produced, which is the price of each factor of production is relatively cheaper, so that the ISO cost curve shifts to the right, vice versa. So and else, what is different between ISO quan and ISO cost? So the broadly speaking, the ISO quan curve presents. The ISO quan curve represents the quantity of production. Meanwhile, the ISO cost shows the total cost of production. These two curves are important references for companies to be able to produce the maximum possible output at the predetermined cost. So I think that's all for.
No. So here are some point again is cost minimization. So cost minimization is the basic rule used by producer to determine what mix of labor and capital produces output at the lowest cost. So there are the formula too. To minimize the cost of producing a given level of output, the marginal product per dollar spent should be equal for all input. So here MPL defined Y equal MPK defined R. And to minimize the cost of production, a firm should employ input such that the marginal rate of technology substitution is equal to the ratio of input price. So MPL defined MPK equal Y divided R. So to labor, the firm could reduce its cost while producing the same level of output. This substitution clearly will continue until the marginal product per dollar spent on capital exactly equals the marginal product per dollar spent on labor. So
Okay, I think it's enough, right?
Yeah, I think it's enough for the production process and cost part one.
Mm.
So,
So okay, that's all for us. Thank you for your attention,
and thank you
guys.
for watching our podcast.
So
I hope you guys enjoy.
and educate you also. So, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.
Love you guys.
Okay.